Ladies, gentlemen, and whoever else has listened to this, welcome to the 40th installment. That's right, 40, baby. 40th installment of the Wrestling Matters podcast. How are we all? Did you have a good new year? I did. My game capture card came. Yes! So things at this moment in time, at least, are looking up. And been quite interesting week in the WWE, dare I say, wrestling business too. And later in the show I'm going to be talking SmackDown, I'm going to talk Raw, I'm going to talk things and views in the world of professional wrestling, as I always do, and anything else that has relevance in the world of professional wrestling. But first of all, ladies and gents, I'm going to kick off by talking about Monday Night Raw. A somewhat good episode of Raw that kind of spoiled at the end for me. I will tell you why. Raw kicked off this week in Washington DC by having a video showcase of the moment Edge retired. And Edge and Christian came out, the guys who were in charge for the week of the show. Edge, Christian kick off Monday Night Raw. Tony Chimmel introduced him. He's still around. Introduced him. And Edge is wearing a Sami Zayn shirt. Christian says he's so excited to be standing back in the ring, and they introduced the fact that they're going to do a cutting edge peep show. They're just combining the two together since they are running the show together. The crowd digged it. The first guest on the show was the future WWE self-proclaimed future, Seth Rollins. The crowd boos his name. Christian says the crowd didn't like that. Edge says he wants to put the name in perspective. And then Christian made a match with Russo, and he said he would go one-on-one with Dolph Ziggler, champion versus champion. That will happen later on in the show. And he also mentioned about Daniel Bryan's big announcement also. And he said since they are the GM, they treat him to the 5-second pose. And as that happened, Brock Lesnar's music hits. The World Heavyweight Champion makes his way to the ring with his advocate Paul Heyman at his side. Michael Cole reminds the viewing world of what happened the last time a GM came face to face with Brock Lesnar, Chris Jericho. Crowd boos. Paul Heyman says, ladies and gentlemen, peeps and edgeheads, my name is Paul Heyman, and I can't help but wonder why a man with a broken neck can't even wrestle again, and a man with far too many concussions to ever wrestle again would swim in the shark-infested waters that is led by the World Heavyweight Champion. I hate when he comes out and says reigning defending world champion. He's not even defending the title. He'd be defending the title at Royal Rumble. John Cena's music hits, and he makes his way to the ringside area to a nice reception from the crowd and stares down Lesnar. Gets into a fight with Lesnar. The boys leave. He basically calls out Lesnar and then proceeds to lure Lesnar into him because he grabbed out of Heyman. Lesnar jumps him. Cena goes for the AA, but Lesnar gets away. Cena music plays and he poses for the crowd. Dolph Ziggler will take on Rusev in a champion versus champion non-title match next. Great match, at least I thought anyway. A very good match. Will we see this in the future? I doubt it. There's all this talk about, connecting the titles together and unifying the belts together, but will we see a match like this in the future? I don't know. The match, Rusev goes for a back suplex, but Ziggler flips out. Ziggler goes for a super kick, but Rusev blocks it and flips him over. Ziggler quickly avoids the avalanche in the corner and connects the super kick for a near fall. Ziggler gets to his feet. Rusev pulls him up on the ropes. Ziggler goes for the zigzag, but Rusev holds onto the ropes. Rusev pushes him away and kicks him in the knee before sending him shoulder first into the ring post. Rusev stomps him in the corner. Referee gives a 5 count and Rusev pushes him away and DQ, blah blah blah. After the match, Rusev stands back, surveys his damage. Rusev then applies the anaconda while wrapping him in the bottom rope. Ziggler taps as the referee tries to pull him off. Ryback music hits. The Fiend more chants start breaking out, and Rusev just runs away. Apparently, The Miz and Mizdow will defend the tag team championships on this episode of Raw against the Usos later in the evening. Ryback clears up some misunderstandings with the audience about him and talks about his past, talks about the time he was in Nexus, talked about when he was in Tough Enough back in the day with Miz and Co. and all that. It was a very good video. You have to see it for yourself. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Very good video breaking him down to himself, all the good times, all the bad times, the broken ankle that he suffered and all that. He also said he stands today and that brings him to Rusev. This isn't going to be USA versus Russia thing. It's going to be one big guy kicking another big guy's ass. There's one thing that Rusev and the people need to know about him. He takes negative people and all the negative things they say and eats them. He puts them in a pit in his stomach and turns them into positives. When all is said and done, he looks at Rusev and says, "Feed me more." The Feed me more chance that to break up. Promo for Total Divas returning on the E Network, which was yesterday. Natalya versus Nikki Bella, with Tyson Kidd in Natalya's corner and Brie Bella in hers. Just an average, to me anyway, it was just an average Divas match. Nikki takes advantage from a distraction and forearms Natalya in the face, and then connects the rack attack for the win. Like I said, just an average match, really, just a regular male match. Miz and Mizdow are backstage. Miz starts talking before Naomi, but this was before this. Miz just stirring things up with Naomi again for the Usos and all that. Just stirring things up, that's all he was doing. And on to the tag team title match. Now, I'm not going to talk about this match that much because it was a good tag team match, but the best thing happened at the end of it. Miz and Mizdow are no longer World Tag Team Champions, so the respect and credibility is back in the tag team division. And the Usos, two-time World Tag Team Champions, WWE World Tag Team Champions, and they celebrated in the ring, and apparently the Usos celebrated with the Tag Team Championship, as replays are shown at the end of the match. Naomi then runs down to celebrate with them. Jerry the King Lawler comes into the ring to congratulate them. Lawler asks how it feels to end 2014 as WWE Tag Team Champions. Jey Uso says 2014 was their year. Jey says they are going to have a barbecue with GR sauce. Jey says family is everything. Miz tried to play them, but he got played. It seemed that Rusev, the Usos, and Naomi, well, Jimmy in particular, and Jey and they seemed to allow Miz to fall into the trap, which eventually worked because it made Usos two-time Tag Team Champions. A highlight video about Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, and a highlight video about Daniel Bryan, and that commercial break. Cesaro's music hits. Is playing and he's in the ring. Now, he basically told some truths, because he basically he was the winner of the battle royal, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and then it seemed to go down from there, because apparently WWE are telling him that he's not connecting. You know, the crowd applauded. Connect with who? The WWE audience? He doesn't care about connecting with any of them. Cesaro doesn't care about anything. All he cares about is what he does every single time he steps in this ring. Cesaro touches the canvas before saying no one can hold a candle to what he can do between these ropes. He corrects himself. Cesaro then challenges anyone in the back to come out and make his day. And probably the one thing that made my 2014 year, ladies and gentlemen, he's back. Bad News Barrett returned. And it went from Cesaro running his mouth, basically, telling some truths, I'll grant you that, to Cesaro versus Bad News Barrett. Just a normal match, like a warm-up match for Barrett to come back to. And Barrett won with the bullhammer elbow. And it was just, like I say, a comeback match for Barrett, and I just like the fact that Barrett is back where he belongs, and hopefully now he could go back to being the Intercontinental Champion again. No offense to Dolph Ziggler, or vie for something that he should be going for, or he should have went for a long time ago, and that is the world title. Or you could possibly have a feud on the guy that put him out of the business, or put him out on the shelf, Jack Swagger. Be interesting to see what happens. But at the end of the day, I agree with what Cesaro said in the promo, and I'm fucking static that Bad News Barrett is back. Yes. Luke Harper was seen backstage. Harper says we're all celebrate the ones we love while casting people like him aside like trash. Harper says he's a product of our environment. He is a special and a nightmare. He's a social person and a nightmare come to life. Harper looks into the camera and says, "Sweet dreams." Is it me, ladies and gentlemen, or is Harper turning into Bray Wyatt with all these promos? Because I actually liked it. Alright, it wasn't small, it wasn't the kind of level of a Bray Wyatt, but it seems like WWE are trying to make, well, from these promos anyway, from that promo at least, WWE are trying to make Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper rather, into a character-ish Bray Wyatt. Alright, you'll never get on the level of a promo for Bray Wyatt, but it seems to work. Now, Miz and Mizdow were backstage complaining and demanding a return match for the Tag Team Championships. Edge and Christian put them in a match and said it was next. Oh joy, oh joy, oh joy. If only they knew what they got themselves into. More on that later. Jack Swagger versus Luke Harper. Was it a good match? Yes, it was. I think it seems to me that Jack is lost without Seb, for me. He's great at what he does, I'm not denying that, and he's earned my respect and everything. He's earned my respect as a babyface, because he's actually done it very well. But he seems to be lost without Seb. for me. They fumble around before Swagger applies the Patriot lock. Harper gets to the bottom rope. Harper gets a foot up as he tries the Swagger bomb. Harper then lays him out with a discus clothesline for the win. It was just a normal, regular match, quite frankly. It got 1-star match rating according to this website that I'm reading here. But yeah, it was just a normal match. But what's the future hold now for Luke Harper? Now he's not Intercontinental Champion anymore. Like I say, hopefully a feud with Eric Rowan, but it'll be interesting. But push is there. Question is, will WWE really do anything with it? We'll have to wait and see. John Cena is talking with Edge backstage, and they John Cena shows respect to Edge and thanks him for what they did with the feud and everything. And well, Christian put his foot in his mouth, but he always tried to put the feud in, and he basically thanks him and respects him and shake hands and hug. And says there are a few decent people in this business, and they did a lot for each other, man, for real. Big Show was guest commentator as Roman Reigns took on Seth Rollins with J&J Security. Now, we kind of knew about this. I mean, this match between Rollins and Reigns was brewing at some point, because when Reigns did the interviews, he was going to be... Rollins was on the hit list. But once again, they making Seth Rollins, even though he's the biggest heel in the company, but they're making Seth Rollins look like a tool with J&J Security. He doesn't need J&J Security anymore. Even though certain people came back later on in the show, which I'll get to later, but he doesn't need them. He doesn't need them hanging around. If they want to be security, do it backstage. He doesn't need them two hanging around the ring. They're not Patterson and Briscoe. In the words of Dean Ambrose, it's just reminiscence of the Cruiserweight division, even though technically Joey Mercury was not a Cruiserweight, or never competed in the Cruiserweight division. Noble did. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me anymore. I mean, these two could go on a pay-per-view and steal the show. There's no question about that. These two, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, could have a match on a pay-per-view and steal the fucking show. Period. And he could do it without J&J Security. You know, Rollins goes for the curb stomp, but Reigns avoids it. Rollins quickly leapfrogs a spear attempt, and Reigns throws him into the apron. Rollins kicks him in the head and goes for a diving knee, but Reigns avoids it. Reigns then hits the Superman punch. Reigns sets up for a spear, but Big Show pulls him out the ring for the disqualification. And then this fight continued on the outside. Big Show punches away at him before throwing him over the commentary table. Big Show then tips the table over and walks off. Doctors come down, yada yada yada. Seth Rollins was backstage thanking the Big Show for what he did. Rollins says now that the tables have turned, Roman Reigns he's feeling rather festive. Jensen spread the word, yada yada yada, with John Cena. Boom boom boom. Apparently Rollins invited Cena to the Peep Show later on. More on that later. It was announced that Bray Wyatt will face Dean Ambrose in an ambulance match tonight on Raw. Looking forward to that. Bray Wyatt cuts a promo in the ambulance about the match. Wyatt slams the door before repeating the line, closing the second door, and Ambrose, and then the ambulance drives off, which was an epic promo. Go and check it out. But then again, it's what I call it, isn't it? Now, Daniel Bryan was up next. Apparently, Santino Marella will host the New Year's party on main event. Whoop-de-doo. Now, Daniel Bryan's up next, and he addresses what the heck has been going on with his injuries and everything. Everybody's expecting him to come back. Everybody's expecting him to retire because he hasn't been back for a while. But he did come back. He did announce that one thing. He will be returning, ladies and gentlemen, and to everybody's delight, he will be returning in the 2015 Royal Rumble. That's right, and hopefully he looks to pick up where he left off in 2014 after winning the championship at WrestleMania. But we'll see. Apparently, Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt were on the Cutting Edge Peep Show on SmackDown. More on that later. Now, Miz and Mizdow, like I said, backstage demanding a return match on Raw the same night for the tag titles against the Usos. But Edge and Christian had other ideas. They gave him a match. It just wasn't with the Usos. They gave him a match with the Ascension. That's right, the Ascension made their debut, and boy, oh boy, did these two destroy Miz and Mizdow. The match didn't even last long. The Ascension then connects with the Fall of Man on Mizdow for the win. They just destroyed him, start to finish. Miz and Mizdow didn't have a sniff. Mizdow, as a matter of fact, Miz was on the outside because he looked upset, and Mizdow couldn't handle these two. And the Ascension destroyed Mizdow, and the Ascension won. Miz is seen pouting at ringside as the Ascension stands over Mizdow. Seth Rollins is walking backstage, commercial break, yada yada yada. Rollins says he did before say he may also extend an invitation to Brock Lesnar to join Cena on the Cutting Edge Peep Show. And off to the Peep Show we go. Now, not much happened on the Peep Show, it was just a regular talk show. But the end of it all, Rollins and Big Show grabbed out of Edge. Edge threatened Rollins threatened to curb stomp Edge. Cena came down and demanded he had a curb stomp Edge. He will curb stomp Edge unless he brings the Authority back, and he demanded the Authority come back. So Cena basically had no choice. And what do you know? Dumb and Dumber are back. That's right, Stephanie and Triple H. Dumb and Dumber are back. Hopefully they're not in charge and it's still going to be the, the guest host. I highly doubt that, but maybe they're back for one night only. I don't know. I guess we'll find out this coming tonight on Raw. I hated it at first that these two are back, but it kind of sets up nicely because it sets up nicely for what's going into WrestleMania. Sting versus Triple H, considering what happened at Survivor Series. And, Randy Orton coming back too to TV. Speaking of Randy Orton, I saw a video on YouTube, by the way. I hate to say this, but 5 out of 10 for the rating on Raw. That's the end of the Raw review and all that. But Raw didn't actually finish there, because I saw a video on YouTube, which I will put in the description on YouTube. Randy Orton returned as Raw went off air, because all I saw was Big Show and all that. They were all going to beat up Cena. Next minute, Orton comes down. RKO's comes down out of nowhere. RKO's J&J Security. RKO's the Big Show. RKO's Rollins, and basically saved Cena. So is Orton back, or was what Andrew Harris said on television? Did Andrew Harris say on television as well? Some guy, I got a gentleman who follows me on Facebook, who adds me on Facebook, say that is he back? Is he back just for the fans? I don't know. I don't know how they do that. I've gotten to know at times where when somebody returns, they're back. Is he coming back to TV anytime soon? Will he be back on TV tonight? We don't know. What's the future for Mr. Orton? Question is, the sooner is, when is he going to come back on TV? And quite frankly, in my opinion, the sooner he does come back to television, the better. Because as we know right now, it's going to be Rollins versus Orton at WrestleMania. That's what they're building to. It's coming. You know it's going to be there, considering what happened before Christmas. Also, I just want to make a quick shout out to Drew Talbot on Facebook. Thank you, sir, for watching the podcast as well. Apparently, from your message you sent me and everything, you told me you're a big fan. I appreciate that very much. You asked for a shout out. Here it is, my friend. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast and supporting what I do. It means a lot. Continue to spread the word to your friends and that, and get more people to watch it and all that. I would really appreciate that. And he asked me on Twitter, and he asked me on Facebook rather, what did I think of the reinstatement of the Authority, and I say I hated it, but I like it in a way because it sets up nicely for when Orton returns, which he did. Lo and behold, he returned after the show, because he came out after the Raw went off the air. Will he come back to TV? We don't know. Sooner the better, in my opinion. And it also sets up nicely for Triple H and Sting at WrestleMania as well. So shout out to you, Mr. Talbot. You got your shout out. Thank you so much for the support on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to like the WM podcast as well. Facebook.com/WM podcast as well. That's the Wrestling Matters podcast Facebook page. And again, thank you so much for your support. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the Raw. 5 out of 10, like I said. And I'm going to go to a quick commercial, a quick promo break. And after that, I will be giving you the SmackDown thoughts as well. So I will return with the SmackDown views and opinions right after this. So stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel www.youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters for weekly episodes of the Wrestling Matters podcast and other wrestling related content as well. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel www.youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters for weekly episodes of the Wrestling Matters podcast and other wrestling related content as well. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. SmackDown main point. Welcome back, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters podcast, episode 40. And like I say, it's time for SmackDown. Edge and Christian kicked off SmackDown this week, and apparently Michael Cole opened up by elaborating on a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that Edge and Christian were reportedly bringing against WWE. WWE, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, as a result of what happened Monday night. Before the two former world champions could kick off the Blue Brand with themselves in charge, J&J Security drove into town to read a prepared statement from the Authority. The statement claimed that the Authority had no knowledge of Seth Rollins and Big Show's actions from earlier in the week, and that they do not condone or support them. What a load of bullshit. It is also stated that they apologized for what happened, however, it went on to state that while they recognise Edge and Christian's right to host SmackDown, J&J Security would remain there as official observers and would document any wrongdoing. Pushing forward, Edge and Christian made 2 huge matches, Ryback versus Big Show and Roman Reigns versus US Champion Rusev. More on them later. A very interesting match kicked off SmackDown this week as well. Bray Wyatt versus Eric Rowan. Going head to head with Eric Rowan, Bray Wyatt laid waste to his former Wyatt family disciple with his sister Abigail out of nowhere. He then addressed his post-match comments to Dean Ambrose, making it clear that he was ready to dispose of the Lunatic Fringe in the first ambulance match, or the first Raw ambulance match tonight rather, which would be very interesting. Looking forward to that. In the midst of an impressive showdown between Ryback and Big Show, a major decision by Rusev allowed the Giant to deliver a knockout punch on the big guy, knocking him to the ringside floor and ending the match in favour of the world's largest athlete. But when Rusev looked to deliver post-match assault, the big guy escaped and sending him packing. Excuse my tongue there, can't hardly speak. Dean Ambrose versus Curtis Axel, it never happened. Taking down Curtis Axel outside the ring in an out-of-control onslaught before the bell could even ring, Dean Ambrose quickly turned his attention to Bray Wyatt, explaining to the Eater of Worlds exactly what he will do to him in Raw's first ambulance match. Without a doubt, he seemed ready to take his foe on a Happy New Year highway to hell. In the height of Roman Reigns' match against Rusev, Big Show stomped down to the ring, instantly taking a Superman punch from the black-clad adversary for his efforts. But then, just when it looked like Reigns would become the first superstar to pin Rusev, the world's largest athlete roared back and yanked him from the ring. Faced with the wrath of a very angry Giant, the fierce Reigns literally turned the tables on Big Show's post-match onslaught, sending him over the SmackDown announce table, then overturning the entire structure on top of the Big Show to end SmackDown. What's next for this rivalry? I guess we'll find out soon. And the fact that the authorities sent a letter to J&J Security saying, oh, they had nothing to do with what happened on Raw. Stephanie and Triple H, you are full of shit. Okay? Absolute bullshit. And I tell you right now, if you guys are in charge tonight, I hope you guys are in charge for one night. And the sooner Orton comes back to TV, and the sooner Sting come back, the better. Because when the authorities speak, I hit mute button. Right. That's the end of the SmackDown main points. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I will go on to now something that came across on WWE.com. The 15 superstars in WWE to watch in 2015. Who's going to make the impact in 2015? I'll go through them, see if you agree or disagree. Feel free to let me know. Number 1 in this 15 was Damien Mizdow. Many people think that he's going to turn on Miz at the Royal Rumble. Now they're not World Tag Team Champions anymore. But WWE seems to be dictating big things for him. Alexia Bliss, I'm guessing NXT's diva. WWE predicting big things, and they need to predict big things to get them up into the Divas roster. I mean, if I was considering the way the Divas division is, I would stay in NXT. But the Divas division needs to vastly improve, and quick. Lorenzo Amore, who's, again, NXT. Yeah, apparently he's had rivalries with Mason Ryan and so on, but WWE predicting big things for him. I've never seen him in NXT, to be honest with you. I've watched NXT, but I've never seen him wrestle. But I'm sure if you guys watch NXT more than I do, you will understand. You'd probably understand. Tyson Kidd. Now, he's got a tag team with Cesaro at the moment. He's already had his title shots in NXT as well, and the fact that this guy, it's taken WWE to realize in 2015 that this guy is one to watch. I think anyone with a brain already knew that from before. Just saying, because like I said, Tyson Kidd is more talented than half the damn roster. A tag team to watch out for is Wesley Blake and Buddy Murphy. 2 guys who can probably spice up the WWE tag team division, not just in NXT but on the main rosters too. It'd be interesting to see. What goes down with these two when they eventually come up to the main roster. Luke Harper, well, there's already been signs of Luke Harper, and there's already been signs of what he can do anyway, because he's a former Intercontinental Champion. even though he was basically handed that Intercontinental title. Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see big things. I genuinely hope that he has a feud with his former tag team partner, Eric Rowan. Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see what 2015 lies in store for Mr. Harper. Like I say, he's already been Intercontinental champion, so there was a hint of what to look out for in that respect, because he actually did very well as an Intercontinental champion. The next lot, the Vaudevillains. Now, it seems to me that these two are next in line to wear the NXT Tag Team Championships, and these two remind me of an old Steven Regal and Dave Taylor from WCW. So I'm predicting big things for these two as well. So when would they get up to the main roster, we don't know, but it seems to me that the way things are going in NXT, these two are probably next in line to wear the NXT Tag Team titles, because they've got this big rivalry going with the Luchadors. Bad News Barrett is the next one, and considering his injuries and all that, but he's back. Hopefully he'll get his due back and everything, and his momentum back, and could be the Intercontinental champion again. Or he should be going for a world title shot, if you ask me. But Bad News Barrett as well. Sting is the next one. Now, considering what happened at Survivor Series, I kind of knew that this guy was going to be in here. I think the next time you'll see Sting will be at WrestleMania. And it looks like from where things are going, it's going to be Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania, considering now the Authority are back and whatnot. And apparently there's all these rumours going around as well that he's going to be in the Royal Rumble match, which I highly doubt. But hey, this is the Royal Rumble we're talking about. I'll talk about that in a bit more in a minute later on. But yeah, be sure to watch out for Sting in 2015. Superstars to watch. 15 superstars to watch in 2015. Right, we had all the wrestlers up until now. The next one after Sting was Renee Young. Nothing against Renee Young. She's hot, but she's a commentator. I didn't know they made commentators superstars. I mean, she's on the Superstar show in NXT and backstage during Raw and SmackDown and whatnot. But really, a superstar to watch? I mean, what you gonna do? Be a wrestler? Now that I'd like to see. You know, that I would really like to see that. How that pans out. But I mean, I don't agree with it. But hey, if it's based on her announcing, I would definitely say so. But I would say it said 15 superstars to watch, and I thought it would have been wrestlers, not commentators. But hey, the next one is the future of the Divas division, or what's left of it anyway. Charlotte Flair. Now, this woman is got it. She has what it takes. She has all the credibilities and the capabilities of what a diva should be. Wrestling, diva, but she's now the NXT. At the moment, she's the NXT Women's Champion, and sooner or later she's going to get a call up to the big boys, the main roster. But like I say, she's the future of the Divas division. Will the Divas division improve when she comes up, and Sasha Banks and other people come up? I hope so, because it needs to improve. Finn Balor, or as we all know him, Prince Fergal Devitt. A future world champion, in my opinion. This guy made an impact at the NXT TakeOver Our Evolution show. We all knew he was going to make an impact the minute he got into the roster. He's going to be contending, and he will. You better believe he'll be going for the NXT title at some point. I'd like to see him and Hideo Itami be NXT Tag Team Champions. I've always said they're future NXT Tag Team Champions. I would like to see that. But I want to see this guy go for the NXT Championship, and then preferably get up to the roster and become a world champion, because WWE have got major player in their roster. My worry is are they going to, fuck him up as far as booking goes? The next one is Roman Reigns. Well, we already knew this, because of his injuries and everything. He had a great 2014 with matches against Orton and that. So we all know that there's big things to predict for him, that he's going to win the Rumble and go on to WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. So I already knew he was going to be in this line. The next one after that is Kevin Owens. Now, he's already made an impact on NXT, destroying CJ Parker and taking out Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn, and it looks like there's going to be a feud in line between him and Sami Zayn at some point. He's making an impact on NXT, as we all knew he would. It'd be interesting to see what happens 2015 for Mr. Owens. I predict NXT Championship. Question is, how will he get it? Will he be next in line to wear the belt from Sami Zayn in this feud? We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, I agree with WWE and WWE.com. He's going to be in there. He's going to be definitely in that mix, the NXT title, and I wouldn't mind seeing Finn Balor and Kevin Owens go one-on-one for the NXT Championship, or have a feud. That I'd pay to see. And the last but not least, as we all knew this one anyway, Dolph Ziggler. He's been Intercontinental Champion. He's basically got his mojo back, so to speak, and he's getting pushed down the right path, and hopefully he will be a world champion again at some point. He's already the current Intercontinental Champion. Had a brutal, hellacious ladder match at TLC with Luke Harper, and yeah, I predict a world title in 2015 for Mr. Ziggler rather. How will he get it? Big things will happen for Mr. Ziggler in 2015. Big things should be happening for him anyway. It's just a shame WWE takes the odd route and a very long time to realise what they have on their roster at sometimes. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of that, and I'll be back after this quick commercial with the views and opinions in the world of professional wrestling. See you in a bit.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shubs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Be sure to listen to the Wrestling Matters podcast each and every Monday, only on Mixcloud, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, Podomatic, and SoundCloud. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans, we talk about Monday Night Raw, we shoot the breeze, we pipe bomb, and we tell it like it is. Tune in each and every Monday for the Wrestling Matters podcast, where wrestling matters. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast, and now we are going to read some news, reviews, and opinions. News, reviews, opinions in the world of this beautiful thing we call professional wrestling, and we're going to check it out right now. Apparently Jeff Jarrett's negotiating with AAA. TNA has announced on Twitter that the company has re-signed Madison Rayne. So TNA is currently going a rebuilding process. I don't know when they'll be back. They've re-signed Kurt Angle, Abyss, Ethan Carter III, and Jesse as well, Jesse Corders. So big things are coming down. Now, even Mr. Anderson's re-signed as well. That's right. Add Mr. Anderson to the list of talents that have re-signed with TNA. The company posted the following on their Twitter page, making the announcement. So hopefully some old ones, some new ones too. You know, where would that go? I don't know. Rob Terry finished with TNA Wrestling. He's been moved to the history session. The history section of their website. Is it Alumini site or whatever it is? Yeah, he's done with TNA Wrestling. Not that he was doing much anyway. Apparently ODB will be debuting in ROH very, very soon. Former TNA Knockout ODB debuted on ROH TV tapings in Nashville Saturday night, which was this past Saturday, I'm guessing. And she's probably going to hang out with the and from the picture here that I'm seeing, it looks like she's hanging out with the Briscoes, which is a perfect fit for her. More TNA departures. Let's have a look. Bully Ray has apparently left. Devon's left. Shark Boy, thank goodness, has left. Brittany, Rob Terry have gone, which I just said about Rob Terry as well. Apparently he's done with TNA Wrestling. And Rampage Jackson is now gone with TNA. There's been a lot of speculation whether or not TNA will re-sign Bully Ray now that they have signed with Destination America and are back to spending money and signing new deals. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Apparently there's a singles planned for Damian Mizdow, so that's why they were saying predict big things for him in 2015. Vicky Guerrero's returning to school as well on Monday, or today in fact, looking for any more possibles. Sheamus not returning anytime soon, but I have heard that Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast, shout out to my boys, there's a possible heel run for Sheamus when he eventually returns. Apparently there is a possible heel run in store for him. So we'll have to wait and see when he comes back. You know, it's a case of believing it when you see it. But yeah, looks like Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast will finally get their wish, because they've been very vocal about Sheamus and being heel on their shows. So shout out to Kinney and Co. on Sunday Segway as well. Looks like you're going to get your wish. Apparently there's going to be speculation on Daniel Bryan causing changes for WrestleMania 31. Now that he's back, there might be some wrestling, some changes at WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio possible being done with the company before WrestleMania 31. Amazing he hasn't been done now. Could he be going to Lucha Underground? Because apparently Chavo's been teasing a feud with him and Rey, and in Lucha Underground. We'll have to wait and see. Another major match being discussed for Senior Sting. I'm going to check it out. We all know he's going to be possibly facing Triple H. Still talk about The Undertaker. I highly doubt that. But apparently there's been a match discussed for Sting in 2015. Seth Rollins possibly entered the WWE title picture. As we have reported, the leading match candidate for Sting at WrestleMania 31 is Triple H. But apparently there's been another opponent discussed. Seth Rollins. If WWE decides against Seth Rollins and Sting, the recent string of losses Rollins has accumulated might suggest Rollins will be heading into the WWE World Title picture in the near future. He should be. He's got the money in the bank, for Pete's sake, which would make for an easy title feud for him, and would also cancel plans for Rollins versus Sting. So would it be there? Would it be? We'll have to wait and see. Kevin Nash removed from advertisements for 19th of the first WWE Raw reunion. I didn't even know they were doing the Raw reunion, but I guess it's an anniversary, isn't it? 'Cause I think it's based on considering what's been happening with him and his son. WWE has removed Kevin Nash from advertisements for January 19th Raw reunion broadcast in Dallas. WWE previously announced that Nash, who is currently signed to a Legends deal with WWE, was suspended indefinitely following his arrest on Christmas Eve under assault and battery charges. Hogan, Hall, and Michaels are still being advertised for the Raw event. Let's hope WWE allow Kevin Nash to come in, and let's hope all these charges and all this stuff gets out of the question very, very quickly, because possible chance for another NWO reunion, maybe a Click reunion. I don't know. To wait and see. But yeah, here's something for you that I'm gonna probably end with if it'll come up. Apparently, a former NXT diva. Nah, I'm not gonna even go up. Apparently from an NXT diva. You know what, I thought it was something big, but it's not that big, so we'll move on. And I guess that's about it for the news, views, and opinions in the world of professional wrestling. So follow me at Tony_Walker if you want to give your views and opinions. Get me on Facebook, facebook.com/WM Podcast, and leave your views and opinions in the world of professional wrestling on them two pages. And go to the Twitter page as well, at WM Podcast as well. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Few quick promotions there. Don't forget, look out in the near upcoming weeks. I've got 2 EPW podcasts, like I mentioned last week's show. There's 2 more EPW podcasts that are coming. That's right, the EPW podcasts are returning, and I will be bringing them back. I've got 2 in the pipeline, so be sure to be on the lookout for them as well. I haven't really been able to record the one I finished, or do the one I finished, because I've been busy, so I'll get them sorted out and bring you them ASAP. If you want more information on EPW's wrestling, the EPW wrestling that I talk about on this program, epwwrestling.co.uk, EPW Wrestling 1 on Twitter, and EPW American Wrestling, facebook.com/EPW American Wrestling on Facebook for more information, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. And guys, check it out. I'll plug them here as well. I am subscriber to ICW On Demand, and if you're not, you should be. You are missing the best wrestling content you will ever see in British wrestling, and dare I say in the world. ICW is where wrestling should be, and how wrestling should be. So if you haven't, get subscribing. It is £3.75 a month. God knows what that is in American money, and dollar money rather. I think that's possibly about £6. It's cheaper than the certain WWE network, which I am thinking of getting, but you know, I'd kind of holding back for when they eventually come to the UK. Like I say, eventually being the key word there. But if you haven't got the ICW On Demand, I highly recommend it. You are missing some great wrestling. You can see stars like Bob Holly. Yes, you heard me correct. Hardcore Bob Holly. Paul London, Brian Kendrick, Sabu, Rhino, the man formerly known as Drew McIntyre, Drew Galloway, and much more. Get yourself on there. It is worth the price. Trust me. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the Wrestling Matters podcast, episode 40. Hopefully there will be more news, views, and opinions next week, because there hasn't been quite a much in the past couple of weeks. Guess with it being New Year and Christmas, and hopefully TNA will be back upcoming on the podcast as well. I don't know when they'll be back, but I'll have to check that out, so stay tuned for that. But with that being said, this has been episode 40. I've been the H, the E, to the A, to that D, the head Anthony Walker. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting the Wrestling Matters podcast. Until next time, peace out.